Hi friends, welcome to my channel, and today in this video we are going to discuss about VCSA, and we are going to see how we can deploy VCSA, which is basically a vCenter server appliance. In previous day, in a like when vCenter started, you have to go on Windows machine, you have to mount the DVD or CD, and then you need to run that installation media. So it's going to ask you the installation for the vCenter. It's just like installing some application. But now what VMware is giving, VMware giving is this vCenter server appliance installer, which you can use to deploy VCSA as a appliance, as a basically a virtual machine on your infrastructure. So where you can deploy VCSA. So to deploy VCSA, you must need at least one vCenter or ESXi host where you can host this virtual machine. So this installer is basically designed to create a virtual machine with the VCSA, and it's going to hold all your VCSA like vCenter application on it. It's going to hold your VCSA database. Everything is going to be held on same virtual server or virtual appliance or virtual machine. So we are going to see how we can deploy this and how we can start the installation, and how it's going to create the virtual machine. We are going to see everything step by step, and we are going to discuss one by one things when it's going to come. So when you run the VCSA vCenter appliance installer, you will going to get four options. The first option is install, which we are going to focus on this video. So in this video I'm going to deploy vCenter server appliance 6.7, and later on also we are going to see the upgrade from previous version like 6.5 or 6, and then we are going to also migrate vCenter server from like a traditional vCenter server to vCenter virtual appliance. So we are going to see that also, and also we are going to restore a previous created vCenter server appliance from a appliance backup. So we are going to see everything one by one. So let's focus on first thing, which is going to be a VMware vCenter server appliance 6.7 deployment step by step. So here, what is my infrastructure, what we are going to use in this demo environment. So basically I having two physical machine. You can assume like the first one is Win2K12 DC01, which is my Active Directory and DNS server, which is working as a domain controller in my infrastructure. And second machine we have ESXi01, which is basically ESXi host, which is running on 6.7 version. So let's go to my domain controller. So this is Win2K12 DC01. IP address of this machine is 192.168.1.201. So let's verify. And domain name is victorinfosol.local. So IP should be 0.201. So let's check. So this is my Active Directory server and DNS server. You can see Win2K12 DC01, and if I go to local server, you can see my domain name is victorinfosol.local, and my Ethernet IP address of domain controller 192.168.0.201, and this is my domain controller DC01. And the next machine which we have ESXi01, which having this IP address 192.168.0.167, and it's having 24 gig of memory. So let's verify. So here it is. You can see VMware ESXi01 running 6.0.7.0 edition version, and this is my ESXi01 and IP address of this machine. It can be managed through HTTP or HTTPS. So I'm going to connect with this my ESXi host basically. So I'm going to connect to UI. So let's verify what we have in this ESXi host. So this is a brand new ESXi host. You can see we don't have any virtual machine yet on this machine. So what we are going to deploy, when we are going to deploy this virtual machine VCSA, it's going to create virtual machine here. So you have to make sure you have enough RAM, you have enough storage, and you have enough core. So it's depend which type of VCSA you want to deploy. So we will discuss in later on. So for now I'm going to deploy with the 10 gig. So we have enough memory I guess, and enough storage also. So this is good, and everything looks good, and we can go ahead and run the setup for. So I have mounted the VCSA installation media here, VMware VCSA. I'm going to click it. And if you go here, VCSA UI installer, you will see you have like Linux version, Mac, and Win32. So I'm going to focus on Win32 and just go for installer, find the installer, and double click on it. So it's going to launch you the same installation window which we have here. So we got this screen: install, upgrade, migrate, and restore. So this is the basically a virtual appliance which we are going to deploy. So we are going to give the VM name is VCSA 67, and FQDN is going to be VCSA 67.victorinfosec.local, and IP address I'm going to give this machine. So I just changed the IP. So IP address is for VCSA is going to be 192.168.0.202, and let's click on install. So before you begin the installation, you must need to create a DNS entry in your domain, or you can say your DNS server, to get like when we are going to this installer is going to connect to the VCSA through the IP address or name, it must be resolved. So I'm going to create a DNS entry here. So ESXi, and going to give the correct IP address. So this you must need to do before you run the setup. So this is good. If I click add host, so you can see ESXi01 is added here, and the full qualified name is going to be this ESXi01 for this is for ESXi01 which I have added. So this is good. We can change it to 167, and now I'm going to create DNS entry for my VCSA itself. So for VCSA is going to be a VCSA 67, and the IP address is going to 192.168.0.167. I'm going to click add. So now we have our DNS entry for both ESXi host and VCSA, which we are going to deploy. So if I go into ping VCSA 67, you can see. So basically, if you ping VCSA 67, it should get resolved, but it's not pinging because we have yet not deployed this VCSA. So this is good, and let's check our ESXi host is reachable. So we have already verified we have logged into ESXi host, which is responding, which is good thing. So we are good to go and deploy now our VCSA. So I'm minimizing everything. So now the first thing is going to be a deploy appliance, which is basically going to deploy a virtual machine on our ESXi host, and the second task is going to be setup appliance. So let's do step by step. So going to run stage 1, so click next, accept the license terms, click next, and what you want to deploy, like embedded platform service control, or you want to have external PSC. So I'm going with this internal or basically embedded one, which having the vCenter and platform service control on it, and this is going to be a one appliance. And if you go this way, you are going to have appliance in one machine, one virtual machine, and second appliance is going to be for vCenter, and first one is going to for PSC. So I'm going to with the default one and click next, embedded. And what is the ESXi host or IP? So I'm going to type the IP address of my, if you are typing the host name, then you should be able to resolve with DNS. So however, I'm going to type just IP address, and you need to type the credential to connect with it. So this is looking good. Click next, and yes, I accept the certificate warning. And now VM name, so we have to get the VM name. So this is going to be a VCSA 67. So VCSA 67, and what the root password you want to save set. So I'm going to set the root password for login to this virtual machine. Click next. And we have a deployment size here which we are discussing. So if you see here, I have assigned RAM 10 gig. So it's depend on how much big infrastructure you are working. So if you go with the these all options like X larger, tiny, so this is demo, so I'm going with the smallest one, which is tiny. And if you go with the storage also, you can extend like larger, extra larger, or whatever. So I'm going with the default one, tiny and default, which is going to be a virtual machine with 2 core, 10 gig of memory, and this is going to be a size 300 gig size, and it can handle up to 10 hosts and VMs up to 100. So this is good with me. So click next. And where you want to store your virtual appliance, so I'm going to store here because it's having free space. And this is the option if you wish to thin provision disk. So I'm going with the thin provision. So click next. And now we have to put these details. So the first thing is going to be a network name, so I'm going to deploy in VM network, which is default, and IP version IPv6. Assignment is going to be static, and FQDN is going to be VCSA 67.victorinfosol.local. IP address is going to be 192.168.0.202. Subnet mask is going to be 255.255.255.0, and gateway is going to be 192.168.0.1. and if you have multiple DNS, you can put comma and give the DNS address. So I'm going to give primary as my domain controller and secondary as my router address. So this is good. And common ports HTTP and HTTPS, leave default. Click next. And this is going to be a deploy ready to complete a stage 1. So this is the information which we are going to deploy: the host, VM name, and deployment type, tiny, and store is default. This is going to be a data store, thin, data store 01 and thin is MAC, IP address, system name, all these information. I'm going to click on finish. So now you can see install stage 1 deploy vCenter appliance with an embedded platform service controller is running, and it's going to initializing. And now you can see deploy the appliance task is running, so it's getting started. So now if I go to my ESXi host, you can see the virtual machine is creating. So this virtual machine is getting deployed by first stage which we are running. So it's going to take few seconds to get the deployment done for appliance, then we can move to second stage. So I'm going to pause the recording here. Once the deployment is done for virtual machine, we will go further. So VM deployment is almost done. It's waiting for some installing some component on that particular virtual machine. So if you go now on VCSA, you can see the virtual machine is started, and if I take the control of this machine, you can see the machine is working something like it's installing the component and configuring the virtual machine. So it's going to take some time. So now it's moved to 91% and installing VMware Unix ODBC driver. This is something for basically database connectivity, because the database is also going to sit on the same virtual machine which is deployed now, deploying through the this wizard. So everything is going to be on same machine. So now it's installing VMware certificate server. So it's going to take few more minutes to get the installation done. So I'm going to pause the video again and resume once the deployment is finished. So now you can see the stage 1 is completed. Deploy vCenter server appliance with embedded platform service controller. So this is good, and now we can proceed for the second step for deployment process, where we are basically going to configure the this VCSA. So now if I go here on my virtual machine, you can see the virtual machine is running. And if I just go in edit settings, you can see what the configuration of this machine having. So 2 cores, as discussed, it's have like 10 gig memory. And if I go here, you can see we have multiple disks. So if I go here, click go, you can see we have total 13 disks attached to this virtual machine, and this is basically working on Linux platform. So different disk has been associated for different logs and all, and database, root, everything. So this is good. So virtual machine deployment is completed, and now we can proceed with the second step. So click on continue. So now we are going to stage 2, set up vCenter server appliance. So click next, and now it's going to give you the time sync model. So leave default. If you need if you want to change the like SSH access, you can change it or enable it. So I'm going to enable for now and click next. And this is the single sign-on configuration. So if you have any existing single sign-on domain with PSE, you can go and join that. If you don't have, you can go ahead and create. So I'm going to create a new one. So my name of this, I'm going to give vcsa.local for single sign-on domain. For this, basically a vCenter infrastructure, and the single sign-on password I'm going to set. So now click next, and this is customer experience. So I'm going to not join, this is a demo. Click next, and we are ready to complete. And you can see all the things which this machine is going, this basically a task is going to do. So going to assign IP address, host name, all these information, and sync time, and this is almost done. So click on finish. So you'll not be able to cancel it once this stops. So we are started, we are good with it. So click OK, and now configuration is about to start. So stage 2, appliance setup is in progress. So starting VMware authentication framework. So it's going to take few minutes, so we need to wait for it. So it's going to create single sign-on everything now, and like it's going to enable all the services, all the components which is required to appliance to work properly as a vCenter appliance. So it's going to take some time. So it's 21% completed, so we are going to wait for few more minutes. Now you can see starting license service, VMware license service. So this is good thing. Let's connect to the console and see what's going on. So you can see if you go to console, you can see this type of console it's going to look like. So this is going to give you the vCenter virtual appliance 6.7 and the memory and a CPU. And if I go to F2, if I hit F2, and it's going to ask the credential. So now you can see what you can do. So configure, you can change the passwords of the management, you can change the management network, restart, troubleshoot, and view support information. These all things which you can do from here, from a physical console of the particular virtual appliance. So this is good. Just press escape button to come out from there. So this is good. So I'm going to close this. Now we have to wait for a few more minutes to get the installation is done. So now you can see its used space is around 13 gig for now. It's going to increase day by day when the size of the your virtual appliance is going to be full. So now it's starting the virtual machine vCenter server service. So looking good for now. So now stage 2 is also successfully completed and appliance is now going to be in healthy state. So let's see. So yes, it's up and running, everything is looking good. So I'm going to close this now, and then appliance getting start page. So we are going to see this now. So it's going to take you to the HTTPS port on this particular VCSA hostname FQDN. So let's wait for it. So now click proceed, and I'm going to open with the HTML5. And it's going to be a root and VCSA, basically administrator. To log in here, administrator.vcsa.local, and then our password. So it's going to validate single sign-on authentication, and we are able to log in through a single sign-on. So just wait for a few more seconds here. So we are in. So now you can see we have data store, VMs, everything. And now if you go right click here, basically right click here and create a new data center. So I'm going to create a new data center, call it India. Okay, and now under the India I'm going to add host, which is our ESXi host given here. So I'm going to add 192.168.0.167. click next. Host connection setting, so I'm going to enter the credential. Certificate, yes, and this is going to be physical hardware details. So click next. I'm going to with the evaluation license, click next. Lockdown mode disable, and where is VMs are going to put under the India. So click finish, and now you can see it's adding a standalone host. So host is going to be here, and VMs can be, you can see VMs here once this standalone host is completed. Now we can see the host here, so which is good thing. So now if I go log out from here, this is basically HTML based, and if you wish to launch the Flash based, you can run the Flash also. So VCSA 67, so and this time I'm going to verify the Flash is working. So click here, vSphere web client. This is going to run on Adobe Flash Player, so which is good. So administrator and VCSA dot local, and put the credential. Login. So this is Flash based. We are able to log in. So everything is looking good. We are able to log in through the Flash and HTML both. And we can see our virtual machine VCSA is here. If I go here and right click and edit setting, you can see we have all the settings, which is good. You can see all the disks are there, so this is good. So now move to final step where we can verify the status of VMware appliance management. So I'm going to, this is going to be access HTTPS, your FQDN, and port number 5480. So I'm going to click on it. So you can see now we have a virtual machine appliance management, which is basically going to connect your this machine VCSA06 manage on a management appliance management tool. So I'm going to log in here. and from here you can change view and do all the tasks which you all the administrative tasks which is required to be done on VCSA virtual appliance. So this is good. So now you can see all the status. Overall the status is good. CPU, memory, database, storage, swap, everything is looking good. You can see the single sign-on domain status is running, and you can see the host name, type of the product like appliance vCenter with embedded platform service controller, and you can see the version and build number also. And if you go to monitor, you can see the CPU, RAM, disk, network, and database. Everything is there. So you can see how much space is consumed. Like you can see the database, archive, DB logs. You can see the database. So everything you can come here and verify. And if you go to network, you can see what is the network bandwidth it's consumed. You can see the database, overutilized, and percentage. Everything is here. So you have access details. SSH is enabled. If you wish to disable SSH, you can go ahead and disable everything which you don't want to allow. So I'm going to enable the SSH. And then you have a networking, IP address, and all other details like host name and all. And you have firewall. If you wish to do some tuning on firewall, you have time, service, all the service status. If you wish to start, stop anything, you can come here and you can do it. And we have update. You can check for the updates also. If you wish to check for update, you can go ahead and check for update. And you have administration like password requirement, what is, and all. And then you have sys logs, and finally you have backup. So this is virtual machine appliance management, and this is your VCSA, basically a vCenter server login. So this is all in this video. So in this video we have gone through for the installation of vCenter server appliance for the 6.7, and we have verified how to install, how to deploy the virtual appliance, and how we can verify post installation everything is good or healthy. So this is all about this video. So thank you for watching, and please subscribe me for more videos. And if you have any query, any question related to this video, you can always post me on my given mail IDs. Thank you once again. Bye bye.